Every bus should have an emergency evacuation plan developed by the people who are most familiar with the students on the route. This is especially true when working with special needs students. Exceptional education students often have difficulty with changes in routine. Taking the time to go over emergency evacuation procedures often is good for all of the students on your bus. Talk with the students about what they need to do. Stay calm. Some of the students may not understand your words, but a calming tone will help them to remain calm. Follow Dousman's evacuation plan, which is only evacuate when it is safer off the bus than on the bus. Evacuation is necessary when the threats include fire or threat of fire, danger of moving or rushing water, or a dangerous position on the roadway. And lastly, if your bus is positioned on or dangerously near a railroad crossing, remembering that the safest way on the bus is the safest way off. Use emergency exits only if your safe way off the bus is blocked or puts the students in danger. Let's get started.
There are a few items that are unique to special needs buses. One being the seating chart, but on a special needs bus, this information could be crucial in the event of an emergency. Keeping an up-to-date seating chart will help a substitute driver, bus aide, or any first responder. Making sure your manager has an updated seating chart will also be necessary. Next, you will need a belt cutter. The ideal location is in the driver's compartment for easy access. If it becomes necessary to cut a belt, hold the belt taut and cut at a 45-degree angle, away from the passenger. Lastly, you will need a blanket. A sturdy blanket secured in the bus ready to use for student evacuation. When faced with the possibility of an emergency evacuation and you have come to the conclusion that it is safer to evacuate than to stay on the school bus, assess the situation, remembering that the best way on the bus is also the best way off. But be prepared to use alternative exits. Identify a clear path to the exit. Then keep in mind these general lifting guidelines. Never lift anyone more than half of your own weight. Ask for help. Test your lifting ability. If the student weighs too much, use another method. For the one-person lift, you should stand balanced with your feet a shoulder width apart. Squat down, keeping your heels off the floor. Tell the student what you are going to do. Keeping your students calm and informed is the best policy. Place the student's nearest arm over your shoulder. Place one of your arms behind the student's shoulders with your hand under the student's other arm. Slide your other arm under the student's hips. Lift gradually. Without jerking the student, lift using your legs. Keep your chin tucked in to keep your back straight. Lift straight up to avoid twisting at the waist. Take small steps when positioning yourself and the student towards the exit. Keeping the student close to your body to prevent injury to both you and your student. When exiting the bus, take the student to the safe meeting place. For students with poor muscle control, curl the student as much as possible. Keep the student's arms and legs from flopping. Support the student's head and neck. To lift a student in a wheelchair, stand behind the student and put your arms under their armpits. Reach across the chest and grip their forearms. Lift using your legs, pulling them towards you. Walk backwards, dragging them towards the exit. If you must exit out of the rear door, the driver must first exit and then re-establish the one-person lift, getting as much help as is available. After the exit, continue to take your student to the safe meeting place. To perform the two-person lift, move the student in a wheelchair as close to the exit as possible. The taller person then stands behind the student and reaches under the student's arms, clasping their hands across the student's chest. The other person then stands in front and off to the side. The person in the front lifts the lower extremities under the thighs and hips. Squat down and lift together. exit the bus, moving safely towards the safe meeting area, lowering the student together to the ground. Use the same procedure as the one-person lift, or the student in a wheelchair. Fold a blanket in half and place it on the floor next to the student. Lower the student's legs onto the blanket first, and then the head. The student's head should be facing towards the exit. Wrap the blanket around the student to prevent arms and legs from being caught on any obstacles. Grasp the blanket near the student's head and drag the student to the exit. At the exit, support the student's head and shoulders while pulling the shoulders out of the exit, allowing a second person to come under the hip area and help carry away from the bus. If you are in an emergency situation, use the belt cutter and cut the restraints, then direct the students to the safe meeting place.
We hope you will never have to put into practice the procedures in the special needs evacuation movie. But in the event that the unexpected happens, we want you to be confident in your training. At Dousman Transport, we take very seriously the safe transportation of all children, because at Dousman Transport, we transport the world's most precious cargo.